So, very warm welcome to all the people who have joined us today, to all the dignitaries, and to the participants and young aspiring
Divya, you are
startups.
muted. Divya, I think you are speaking, but you are muted.
Ma'am, is it audible now? Uh, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Oh, so, as we ushered into the new year with central government's announcement of National Startups Day on 16th of January, so what can be a better time to celebrate these startups, the backbone of New India? Today, we are joined by Startup Cell Punjab and Technology Business Incubator ISA Mohali to celebrate Vigyan Utsav under the flagship initiative of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav on the current month's theme, that is innovation and startups, under the aegis of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Today's program aims towards highlighting the growth of startup ecosystem in the state of Punjab, as well as bringing together the policymakers, enablers, government support bodies, and successful startup representatives to exchange the knowledge and the best practices on nurturing startup ecosystem to encourage and inspire the youth for innovation and entrepreneurship. With that brief background, I invite our first speaker for the day, Dr. Debapriya Datta, Advisor, Seed and State Science and Technology Program, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, for his address. While I introduce him to our participants, Dr. Datta has served the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India in various prestigious capacities and has a vast experience of handling international collaborative research programs. The year-long Vigyan Utsav initiative is also the brainchild of Dr. Datta himself. So with those few words, I call upon him to share his address. Sir, please.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Kaushik, Dr. Jatinder Kaur Arora, and to all the dignitaries who are present. Again, I think the COVID again has brought us virtually. But anyway, that this Vigyan Utsav, what as a part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we started virtually. Like it was started during almost after the second, the last August. And I really congratulate, not only the Punjab SNT councils, but all the state SNT councils for continuing it. And today, I think we are in the like almost the fifth month of the running this Azadi this Big Dam Utsav. So as you know, like that this Vigyan Utsav we have started to in the spirit of these celebrations, but to establish the importance of the state science SST councils and the network. They have placed like in this the new India, and like what role they can play in the new India. And in this context, we are looking into their newly the aligned role of the state-wise and the UT-wise science, technology, and the innovation ecosystem catalysis. And in this context, we have looked into the various aspects of um, uh, the, the STI ecosystem, which consists of these STI institutions at the state level, human resource development, R&D infrastructures, indigenous technology. So, the this month's most important the aspect is the innovations and the startups. And it is my privilege, this is that to share that the state of Punjab has taken a the role, the frontier role in bringing the science, technology, and innovation together for the socio-economic development of the state. Punjab is, the few of the states who have taken initiative in the science, technology, and innovation policy. Even the council is now the Science Technology Innovation Council. And definitely, like this approach gives also, if you look at it to the national level, has resulted into this India's national, the global innovation index rising in the last 6 years from 82 to now 46. And this innovation, like as we see here, like this has come across all the components of the governance, and where the science and technology has played an engine of the development. Our honorable Prime Minister, during his the speech during the Independence Day, told that the science and technology is going to play as the main engine for the coming 25 years of India's growth till 100 years of our independence. And definitely the role of the science and technology in converting the knowledge into socially and the economically relevant is at the core of that engine. If you look it into these, the Atmanirbhar Bharat's, our honorable Prime Minister's, the dream of Atmanirbhar Bharat. At the central of that is the technological system, which brings the self-reliance of the country. And as a result, like this Vigyan Utsav is also, we are looking into that we are trying to assess the STI ecosystem and its different components, which can strengthen this Atmanirbhar. And in this context, today, the Punjab, which is in the National Innovation Index, 10th in the country, has been brought by NITI Aayog, and uh, which is a which is a huge potential due to the state for bringing the innovations into the the social and the economic sectors. Uh, like today, we are going to like not only discuss, as I understand, there are many of the startups are present there. We're going to also present their innovations and how the startup ecosystem in Punjab is growing. Over as Dr. Kaushik told that in yesterday was the Honorable Prime Minister announced that the 16th January as a National Startup Day. And as we know, like this week is also the India Innovation Week. So it is very apt to start the India Innovation Week in a state like Punjab, which has been till now the football of India, to the knowledge the ball of India to uh, to progress it into a vibrant startup the ecosystem. And this startup ecosystem, if you have the notice yesterday, our honorable Prime Minister told, now the startups has to really go to the peri-urban and the rural areas, because the the COVID has brought us a challenge of this digital world, but that's the opportunity for these startups to grow to go to the rural and the uh, uh, peri-urban areas, where we can look at that how we can empower the people, the community, so that import substitutions. India till now has been to the world is a big, to the market. But this is an opportunity beyond the 75 years. We can be the supplier to the entire world, because the diversity in terms of the livelihood systems, in terms of our the country itself, like what we are proud of, our unity in the diversity, can be the engine of converting our this innovation ecosystem through the very vibrant startups. As we know that India has, in the last 5 years, India has jumped from only 50 startups to 60,000 startups, with 42 unicorns coming in, coming up the last year. And these are the indicators of the self-reliant and the self-confident India. Currently, country has an 82 the unicorn, and each valued in excess of 1 billion. And this number is third in the world. So this shows that the vibrant ecosystem what we have, and I'm very sure that the enthusiasm, the vibrancy what Punjab in its soil will be converted into its the startup ecosystems, and Punjab will definitely rise up the ladder of the national, not only in the National Innovation Index, but in terms of the startups, and really touching the majority of the people. It's not that those startups, what we are talking about, we are providing service to the world, but it is not only providing service to the world, but also bringing the people up the the human resource, human development index. And these are the challenges I think we have to take today, and we will see today, like the many of the examples, and we'll assess that how Punjab as one of the progressive states are poised to drive this, the innovations and the innovation conversions into the economic value through the startup movement. I wish you all the best for this. And I again really congratulate Punjab to be in the forefront of this state assembly councils movement and creating, like the models and the examples for many others. Thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for motivating us and infusing new energy in our plans to boost the innovation ecosystem in the state. I now take the privilege to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Jitendra Kaur Arora, to share the innovation and startup ecosystem in Punjab. Dr. Arora is the Executive Director of Punjab State Council for Science and Technology. She is Chief Executive Officer of Punjab Research and Innovation Council, Director, Punjab Corporation, and Member Secretary, Punjab Biodiversity Board. In recognition of her exemplary services in the field of science and technology, she has been recipient of prestigious awards at both national and the state level, like the National Award for Women Development through application of science and technology, Punjab Sarkar Praman Patra, and several others in her cap. With that brief introduction, I invite ma'am for her address.
Thank you, Divya. I'll just let me put up my presentation. I've put together a brief presentation. Is this visible?
Not yet, ma'am.
Just a minute. Divya, can you see the presentation?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
All right. And is it in slide mode? I hope it's in slide full screen mode, right?
Not yet, ma'am.
Now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Great. Thank you. So happy to have Dr. Datta here, Dr. Manish Devan, Director AIMS, Dr. Jitendra, and Sibinji, Director Industries, and many other dear friends, startups, the heads of incubators. Dr. Datta, thank you for always acknowledging the efforts of Punjab. What I am trying to do through this brief presentation is taking everyone along about what all presently exists in Punjab and what we are aiming at for developing the STI ecosystem, especially the enabling ecosystem for tech-led startups. So these are the flagship initiatives of Punjab government. In the end of 2019, Government of Punjab launched Mission Innovate Punjab, which is being steered by Punjab State Council for Science and Technology. It was launched by Finance Minister. We also have a startup cell in Department of Industries, which works in close coordination with Startup India. And recently, a private sector initiative supported by Government of Punjab, that's IM Punjab, wherein a venture capital fund of 150 crore has been set up, out of which 90% is by the private sector. And just taking you further through Mission Innovate Punjab that I just mentioned, we are trying to align the research priorities of institutions with the challenges of the state, as well as the unmet needs of industry. There is through a dedicated division for research facilitation set up in the council to drive this mission. We've also set up a startup facilitation division as well as a technology facilitation division, which is promoting technologies relevant to the state. We also have DST's Patent Information Center, and we also host Technology and Innovation Support Center of WIPO UN, which is providing end-to-end services for IPR protection to the innovators and especially to the startups. I'll just give you briefly some numbers here in terms of the innovation enablers that we have. Currently, we have 30 plus research institutions, about 29 to be precise, incubators and accelerators, including both in the academic institutions as well as in the private sector. About 10 government departments are already identifying and putting forward their challenges for addressal by the startups, by the industry. And close to 650 incubators are currently incubating in the incubators and accelerators that we have. And catching the innovators young are the Atal Tinkering Labs. We have 200 plus Atal Tinkering Labs in Punjab in various schools, and 5 plus angel investors, primarily supporting the startups in Punjab. And in many engineering colleges in Punjab, we have about 70 plus MHRD supported innovation cells. And as Dr. Datta also mentioned, the entrepreneurial spirit of Punjab is well known, and we have 17 plus industrial associations, major clusters, about 17 major industrial clusters, and we work in close coordination with these industrial associations. This is briefly a journey of how the incubation growth trend has been. First, it started with these steps, science, technology, entrepreneurship parks in 86, first coming up in Ludhiana, followed by one in Patiala. But if you look at this picture, the 75% of incubators and accelerators that we have in Punjab came up in the last 6 years. And to again give you some precise figures, we have about 2.5 lakh square feet incubation space currently in Punjab, and with the capacity to incubate 800 startups. As I mentioned earlier, about 650 are already incubating presently. Out of this, 100 plus are close to 100 are core tech-driven startups. And Dr. Datta, I would like to also share here with you that in setting up these incubators and accelerators, total investment of about 70 crore has gone into it. Out of that, 50% is by DST, Government of India, and of course by the other ministries and funding sources as well. BIRAC has also supported significantly. And this is just to give you an idea of how these incubation facilities are spread across the state. Mohali, as you know, is emerging as a knowledge hub. We have Knowledge City as well, which is a state-of-the-art institutional cluster. So about 1/3 of incubators are located in and around Mohali, followed by Ludhiana, about 1/5 of these in and around Ludhiana. After which the concentration is more in Jalandhar and Patiala. We've interacted very closely with all the incubators and the tech-led startups and the MSME industrial associations. And these are the few things on their wish list, the recommendations they've come up with. And we are working on each one of these in close partnership with the other stakeholders. Developing an incubator network in Punjab, developing a single state portal, which would be the first state STI observatory, single state portal on resource and information sharing. As you know, National STI policy has announced National STI observatory. Punjab is taking the lead to develop first. Dr. Datta is supporting in this, and the other states would emulate this model. And also helping startups to connect with MSMEs, helping startups to connect with corporates, developing, implementing various capacity building programs for innovation managers, and encouraging the institutions to come up with the policies to support startups, which would encourage spin-offs by the researchers within the institutions. And we've also mapped some best practices. For example, ISB has a mentors pool, and they are willing to share it with the other incubators in the state. PAU has a incubator which is focused in the domain area of agriculture and secondary agriculture. And they are very closely interacting with 26 such other incubators. There's a very good model of peer learning in the agriculture domain through the other 26 incubators in the country. The CEO of ICER Incubator is here today. They are also partnering for today's event. They have a very good lab and mentor access program. We have STPI in Mohali, which is leading a neuron program, and so on. These are some of the tech-led startups that we are supporting under Mission Innovate Punjab, in a couple of startups under secondary agriculture domain. Again, a good number of startups which are working on COVID, various aspects related to COVID management, and startups. And these are the various calls or call for proposals or challenges, domain-specific challenges that we run from time to time. And we are also supporting startups on environment management. This is another very interesting program. We've set up a Skill Vigyan Center in partnership with 10 knowledge institutions in Punjab, and under that, our endeavor is to support 20 potential startups every year. There is a dedicated fellowship for each startup, and also a bench fee for the industry, which support these startups for a 6-month duration. It's a very holistic program. And also, this is another interesting program I wish to share with all present here, that we have a Rural Innovation and Application Center in Shivalik Foothill area of Punjab, which we are taking to the next level, and scaling it up as Rural Milieu Accelerator, which is supporting grassroots innovations to develop as startups which are specifically serving the rural settings, and providing end-to-end support to these. And I would also like to mention Dr. Manish Devan, his team, and the team from NASSCOM is here. And as I said, the Director AIMS and team from AIMS Bathinda is here. We thought it will be a good opportunity today to launch the pilot test bedding of 2 startups that we would be supporting under Jan Care Innovation Challenge that BIRAC had run. And the idea here is to provide affordable, easily accessible, innovations for better healthcare, especially to support the healthcare in rural settings. So just to give you a brief, one startup is Genitri, which has developed a affordable platform to monitor the fetal heart rate, uterine contractions, and the maternal pulse rate, which will ultimately support in reducing the maternal as well as infant mortality rate in low resource settings. And similarly, another startup, A Indra, which has developed a platform named Cervestra to monitor the cervical cancer among women, again in low-income settings. So this is, this is for the first time that the startups selected at the national level will be given very effective uh, platform for pilot testing their innovation. For example, they'll be testing around 3,000 samples for the Janitri will be testing about 3,000 samples, and A Indra will be again targeting about 300 women. This we'll be doing with the AIMS Bathinda. I think that's briefly I wanted to give you a bird's eye view of what all is happening in Punjab. And with that, as we go further, we'll listen to the other stakeholders that are working very proactively in Punjab. With that, over to you, Divya, to take it forward.
Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening us with this information. And I'm sure the participants will be benefited and motivated towards entrepreneurship listening to your talk. I now invite Dr. Manish Devan for his brief comments.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be part of this State Connect and Startup Innovation Promotion activity supported by DST, led by Dr. Jatinder. And very pleased to see that you have actually brought together all the relevant stakeholders, be it state government, be it representative incubation centers, the supporting enabling bodies from DST. Thank you so much, Professor PK Singh, for supporting this great initiative of field testing of startups which are mature and which have been able to bring new technologies for a betterment of healthcare delivery at low resource setting. We had launched a program called Jan Care, and under that, 17 such innovations have been supported. NASSCOM has been our implementing partner along with GCI as a strong partner with us at Birect. Intent is that these technologies can eventually get tested in actual settings in the fields so as to gain an understanding of their performance, efficiency, as well as with respect to the standard of care. So that would actually empower both the startups as well as, if it works out well, so the local PHCs, tertiary care centers, CHCs, or the hospitals can actually consider the local validation data and have more confidence in the technology per se. So such technologies are being tested across the country. We have been doing it in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Assam, and several states. So I'm very pleased that Punjab has onboarded and taken this honor to entertain two such technologies which can be tested in the field settings at nothing less than AIMS Bathinda itself. So very pleased to support this effort. And Punjab has been progressing. I think the State Council has been doing phenomenally well over a period of time, as Dr. Jatinder, you showed. 2017 onwards, there is a surge of incubation activities, the incubatees, the startups. Slowly, I think as you grow, as you make recognition on the national setting, more people will get to know that this is the way Punjab has been taking and supporting initiatives. So just like I see Dr. Jitendra Sharma has been kind to join this activity from Bangalore. So the ecosystem would start recognizing, and the ecosystem can only grow to relevant partners, peers supporting each other. And I think this will grow further and make each one of us proud. I also thank Sanjeev and his team from NASCOM, and recognize presence of Ms. Sibin as well and Startup India colleagues. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Devan, for your quick comments. And now I request Dr. Professor D.K. Singh from AIMS Bathinda for his comments. I think we might have some issue with connecting with her, sir. Till that, can I request Mr. Sanjeev Malhotra, CEO IoT NASCOM, for his brief comments?
So I was not unable. Yeah, thank you for muting me. It's great to be part of this morning session, where we heard Dr. Jatinder talk about the initiatives taken up with the two startups. It's very happy to see now we are culminating into a stage, where we are actually seeing the difference at the ground level. When we started this journey with Dr. Manish Devan and Secretary Bayrak, we had this. At the concept level, we said now there have been a lot of work that has been done, by BIRAC, at NASCOM level. I mean, we focus on digital technologies, whereas BIRAC has a lot of specialization in the biotech and healthcare sector. We said we should be joining hands and how to take these innovations at the ground level also, And while we nurture a lot of innovations in the lab across the country, and this particular focus was, now this should be actually making a difference to a life of the common man and in our healthcare delivery. And this is a stage where I think we are beginning to deliver that. And so happy, and congratulations to Punjab Department of Science and Technology and AIMS Bathinda. I think we are so happy to be having everybody here together, and we will work, in partnership with you to see these startups who have been selected actually go through a journey, and where we can actually see the impact of these things on the patient care and the efficiency that it brings in the delivery, not just on the cost side, even from the time and the number of patients that can be addressed through it. I think it should make a difference, and look forward to the learnings and make sure and also growing this program with you in the coming months and the years. So happy to be here with everyone, and again, thank you everyone for organizing this.
Thank you, Mr. Malhotra, for the comments. Can I have a brief comments also from Ms. Nidhi Bazin from NASCOM Foundation?
In the meantime, I can see in the chat, perhaps from AIMS, they are unable to themselves.
Yes, ma'am. We are working on it, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I was not being able to unmute myself. Hi. Good morning, everyone. It's really a wonderful joy to be a part of this session in the morning. And, from a NASCOM Foundation point of view, I do believe that technology is a powerful tool in addressing the world's most challenging issues. And the commitment that I see from all the stakeholders out here, that really proves and gives me the conviction that technology can really play a very big role in changing the world, in developing the world. And, the recent last 2 years experience of the pandemic has actually taught us all that why a robust public health system is of paramount importance. And, digitization as well as a public-private partnership, these two are very important. And that is the role that NASCOM Foundation plays here by connecting all the dots. And, NASCOM Foundation is committed to basically developing on the basis of the SDGs. And while we are working on other issues like education and livelihood, we do believe that the healthcare system, which reaches the last mile, which reaches the grassroots, is the most important. And that is where this whole Jan Care challenge really plays a role by bringing technology, taking technology to the last mile to really help in strengthening the healthcare system. And, what really makes it very important is that this project, our vision, is completely aligned to the Ayushman Bharat digital mission. And what we've already seen in some of the startups which have already, started connecting with different states is that there's a huge growth out here. And, we are just trying to, with all the stakeholders, we're trying to really connect the dots. We are trying to ensure that the health system reaches the last mile. And, none of this would be possible without the support of the Punjab State Council for Science and Technology. And of course, the unstinted support by BIRAC. And I would also like to thank AIMS Bhatinda for this support. And of course, our ongoing partner, NASCOM, for really helping us to put this together. So thank you, everyone. And we really look forward to strengthening this program. Thank you so much.
I'm from AIMS Bhatinda.
Thank you, ma'am.
If I'm audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Good.
Uh,
Good morning to all of you. With a very happy New Year and other festival, though belated. I wish you all a very happy New Year and Pongal and other festivals. So I appreciate the effort of Punjab State Council. I have heard the Professor Devpriya Datta from DST, and I have heard Madam from Punjab State Council of Science and Technology. I'm very happy to be the part of this project, AIMS Bhatinda. Bhatinda is going to be a new hub in Punjab with a presence of the AIMS and other central university of in Punjab, which is located in Bhatinda itself. So I'm very happy to sign this MOU with Punjab State Council, with other participants, NASCOM, and other stakeholder. I have heard Jitendra Kumar ji, Manish, and Mr. Arora. So really, it's a good area. Cervical cancer is also a very important region to be investigated, to be treated in a fast manner, in a timely manner. The same time, fetal monitoring is also important to reduce the national mortality, infant mortality rate. So these are the two important areas for any research purpose. AIMS Bhatinda is very happy. I'm here with along with my other colleague, Professor Goyal, the medical superintendent, Professor Gupta, the dean, and they participating the project PI from the AIMS Bhatinda, Professor Lajja Goyal. We are really happy. I have signed the MOU, and let us hope that in future we'll be doing good other clinical research with the help of other participants. And AIMS Bhatinda is a new institution, and we hope that in very near future, we will be working in a full-fledged manner. We will be giving lots of input in the research project also. So with this, I wish all the good luck to all participants and stakeholders and all the people, those who are supporting this project. Thank you very much. So
Thank you, Professor Singh.
this is the
And
MOU
I
I have
now
already
request
signed.
all the partner agencies to sign the MOU and kindly flash the MOU on the screen so that we can take a combined picture. Thank you, ma'am.
This is
Thank
good
you, sir.
initiative by Punjab State Council.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Moving ahead, we now also have with us Shri Siban Sir, IAS Director, Department of Industries and Commerce, Punjab. He's the Managing Director, Punjab State Industrial Development Corporation Limited, also the Nodal Officer for State Startup Cell and Director, Mahatma Gandhi State Institute of Public Administration. Sir has served the state government in various prestigious capacities, including the Additional Chief Administrator of Punjab Urban Development Authority, Director, Rural Development and Panchayat, Executive Director, Punjab State Backward Class Financial Corporation, Managing Director, Punjab Agro Industries Corporation, Punjab Agro Food Grains Corporation, and Punjab Agri Export Corporation. He has been also served as Special Secretary Horticulture, Mission Director Food Processing Industries, and Additional Chief Electoral Officer, Punjab, to name a few. I invite you, sir, for your special address.
Very good morning to all of you. I'm very happy to be a part of this celebration, especially arranged by the Punjab Science and Council and Science Council and Technology. We from the industries department, we have a startup cell functioning in the department, and we are very happy to sign an MOU with the Punjab Science and Science Council and Scientific and Technology, and we are very looking forward to basically work with the this council. And as we all know, the Punjab is a land known for its enterprise, and we in the startup cell is mainly looking forward to various startup getting registered with us. We have a very innovative industrial and business development policy, which offers very attractive incentive to the startups. And we are giving the various incentive to the startup, as well as the various incubators, as well as accelerators. Recently, we had started innovation mission also, which is also basically a mission along with the fund. So this fund is also available to the all the startup in the state of Punjab. So I am greatly looking forward to various institutions like AIMS, IIT, and other technical universities to approach us, and they can basically various startup working in various institutions can avail this incentive. They can get registered with us, as well as avail the incentive whatever provided by the policy. So recently we had a MOU with the science and technology. So this MOU, we are mainly aiming to help the startups to provide it with the technical support, as well as the patenting, which is provided by the Science and Technology Department. Apart from that, I think they can also motivate various startups working in various technical institutions to come up and registered along with us and avail various incentives. We startup cell has been, basically involving various institutions. We had been conducting various awareness programs. We had been making them aware about whatever the facilities available to the startup. But still our response has been not very encouraging. The number is still very less. We have only 36 startups registered still with us. But I know that there are many startups which is functioning in various education institutions, and they can basically, through science and technology, can come and approach with us. And I'm quite sure that this MOU is going to be very fruitful. Our policy basically have various financial incentives like seed grants, lease rental subsidy, and capital grant for the incubators, accelerators, and all. So all this can be availed. Apart from that, we had also done various, certain special initiatives, especially to promote the startup, that is basically preference to startup in the public procurement. And also Punjab Student Entrepreneurship Program, entrepreneurship scheme, in which we are basically giving 20% attendance relaxation and 4% grace mark for students who pursue the startup thing. So apart from that, we have two STPIs functioning. One is in Mohali and other is coming up in Amritsar. So the STPI also provide basically hub and basically hub and spoke model type of and plug-in facilities for the startups. And this Punjab government is also contributing to the setting up of this STPI in both Mohali as well as Amritsar. So Innovation Mission, as I already told, it's a new initiative by the Punjab government. It is basically include both mission as well as fund. So this is also contributed, some portion of this funding is done by the government of Punjab. And Innovation Mission is basically looking forward to various startup as well as various incubators and accelerators, which is functioning in the state. They will provide with various funding also. The funding is also available in that. So finally, I'd like to conclude that our association with the science and technology is going to be a very fruitful affair. And I expect that more and more startup will come up, and science and technology can help them with the technological aid as well as with the patenting, as well as to create an awareness about this various incentive and initiative which is done by the Punjab government. They can basically pass on to the startups, and more and more startup will come up in the state of Punjab. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your ever unstinted support to us. And I'm sure the synergy between the state government departments will definitely take our state's startup ecosystem to the next level under your able leadership. Thank you so much, sir. So now moving ahead with our program, as we all know that the Punjab State Council for Science and Technology has been supporting tech-led startups, and especially during the COVID times, the council has facilitated several startups for the management of COVID with the support of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. One such startup is Rootworks, which is incubated at Design Innovation Center, UIAT, Punjab University, Chandigarh, which has designed a learning platform for digital education in the rural setups to help our rural children to continue with their studies without the internet or smartphone requirement. So with this startup, we now want to take you through their journey through a small video. May we have the video, please?
हम घर पे बैठे बैठे भी इसका उपयोग कर सकते हैं। मतलब अगर हमारे पास बड़ा फ़ोन भी नहीं है, हम छोटे फ़ोन से भी उपयोग कर सकते हैं इसका। मतलब हम स्कूल नहीं आ पाते, तब हमारे लिए ये बहुत ही लाभदायक हो सकता है।
जिसने भी कोई डाउट ਹੁੰਦਾ है वो रिकॉर्ड करके अपना देख सकता है मैंने वो ਵਧੀਆ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਬਾਕੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁਣ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕੋਲ ਸਮਾਰਟਫੋਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹ ਕੀਪੈਡ ਫੋਨ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਸੁਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਲੱਗਿਆ
So with that video, I now request Dr. Debapriya Datta from DST Government of India to digitally launch the innovation by clicking the link, sir.
Can't see that. Yeah, you have to project. Okay, and congratulations to the Rootworks for doing this important job. Actually, what I have two questions because the inaugurations chalta rehta hai. I see Ms. Palak Bhatia, are you like from there? So like how does it work in a low the network situation, like if the network situation is low, like then how does this your platform works?
May I request the relevant person to please speak up? I'm from Startup India team.
Okay. Anyone from the
Dr. Datta, I'll just tell you briefly.
Yeah.
So this is a platform they have developed wherein actually they do not, if they have internet connectivity, then they can also see the video. But in case the internet connectivity is not there, even then this platform works. But there they'll be able to have the audio. It's like an audio conferencing facility. Also, so that please primary outreach, you would recall when the COVID had just set in, that you supported this innovation. These two youngsters want to depend that the schools can reach out to the students in the rural settings wherein they don't have the internet facility.
Yeah, actually, Dr. Arora, like, I think what I understand, like, we would like to, more interact with this group.
They don't have smartphone.
Yeah, like my suggestion is, Dr. Arora, we would like to interact more with this group. Like the reason is, as you know, like, from the DST seat side, we have started as a part of the COVID resilience, that the community COVID resilience resource center. And there, like as the COVID has affected, it is not a health system, the most affected are the education system, So in that context, if this type of a platform could be a part of that, the community COVID resilience resource centers, we would like to discuss this with the group. And I would request you to, like, we can subsequently be in touch with this.
I think that's a brilliant suggestion. So yes, DST with the state governments is setting up COVID resilience centers. Why not? We will use this platform, and we'll
and probably this can be taken as a as a pilot to the other, because we have planned around 75 this type of pilot centers across the nation. So like if you can take it and pilot it in the other centers also.
Startup, it will be a huge platform that you will provide to startups by helping them take this application to the other states as well.
Yeah.
So we'll ask my vote, we'll organize a meeting. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you. Thank you.
Datta.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I will now be leaving because like I have some other meetings.
Divya,
Thank you very
please
much, and all the best.
take it forward.
Yes, ma'am. Moving ahead, I now invite Ms. Palak Bhatia, who is currently working as Senior Manager at Startup India under Invest India, for her address. She leads various verticals such as Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, state government engagement, public procurement from startups, and mentorship. She has previously worked with a startup herself and is the alma mater of IIT Delhi. Ma'am, I request you for your address.
Thank you, Divya, and a very warm welcome to all of the attendees. My special greetings to the state government representatives, the central government representatives, all of the incubators, and very high-level officials that I can see that are very relevant for this audience. I will quickly share my screen. Divya, if you could confirm when you're able to see it.
Ma'am, it's visible.
Wonderful, thank you. I will then let you all know about Startup India. I'm just going to take some 5-10 minutes to tell you some of the incentives being offered by Startup India and how all of the startup ecosystem can make use of the same. The initiative was launched in 2016. So yesterday was declared as National Startup Day by the Honorable Prime Minister because of our 6-year anniversary. Some of the things that we focus on as an action plan include simplification, handholding, funding support, as well as industry academia partnerships. And I will try to give you a brief of all of these in my subsequent slides. To give you an overview of the ecosystem and a very precise example of success stories. So we have seen that 2021 has been the year of unicorns for India. There has been a multifold 4 times jump in the number. A unicorn, as you may all know, is a company that is valued at $1 billion or above, which means that this business has grown to very big heights. So we have been able to see that startups are not just these small companies now, but they have actually become successful in the last few years to become very big businesses that are having a global impact now. Not just in unicorns, we have also seen that the jump has been very high across the board in the ecosystem. We have been able to see a 14x jump in the number of startups. We have been able to see a great amount of increase in the number of investors, in the funding policies, in the state policies. But we are here to address the Punjab audience, and I can already see from previous discussions that the state has taken so many efforts, so much pain to give more opportunities to the startups of their state. And it is wonderful to see that this such vibrancy has come into the ecosystem. What Startup India has tried to do is that across the life cycle of a startup, we have tried to curate a set of pieces of information, resources, tools, templates that would enable the startup journey to become easier, to become seamless. And these are some of the examples. I'll pick up maybe 1 or 2 for your understanding. So think of a startup at day zero, where a potential entrepreneur just has the intention to become a startup at some day and does not really know what kind of idea he should pick up, what kind of problem she should solve. So to specifically target this audience, there has been an idea bank created by us across 30 sectors that pinpoint certain problem statements that an entrepreneur looking to pursue their own startup could actually target and can solve these problems to make a business out of it. That is one example. Another example is, say you are at early traction kind of a of a stage and you're looking for market access. So I will cover in later as well how public procurement and corporate programs have become a focus area for us to enable startups at their early traction stage to be able to become bigger and move on to their scaling stage. All of these resources, by the way, have been digitized and are present on the Startup India portal. So I urge any startup or any ecosystem enabler to please visit Startup India portal and avail any of these resources or services absolutely free of cost. What is a startup according to us? It is a company that is a private limited company, a limited liability partnership, or a registered partnership, which is less than 10 years of age, has not exceeded 100 CR of turnover in any fiscal year, and is either working on innovation, scalability, job creation, or wealth creation. So pretty much any ambit, it covers the ambit of any new company that is looking to work in the ecosystem. How does the recognition process work? So if you are a startup that is looking to avail many of our benefits, you would need to get recognized. So the recognition process is under DPIIT, DPIIT being the department under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. It is a simple form that takes 15 minutes to fill, is completely online. Just ask for documents such as your incorporation certificate, what do you do, and what is your USP, and pretty much nothing else. So if you are looking for benefits under Startup India as a startup or as an ecosystem enabler who is helping startups, I would definitely urge all of you to get DPIIT recognized and look at all of the benefits that are available absolutely free of cost for betterment of your operations. I will quickly now cover a few things that we have worked on. This is not just for the benefit of startups, but also the government, to enable them to also understand what kind of things work and what kind of benefits we can offer. So we have worked on a lot of regulatory supports. This is something very important. No business can function with a lot of red tape, with a lot of difficult compliances that they have to work on. So many regulatory changes have been enabled by our team, including one of the recent wins being that pension funds, for example, can now go on to invest in startups via funds. So this was a big win to enable domestic capital in the ecosystem. Another example is API integration. So any of the startups in Punjab, for example, when they try to log in into their state portals, could have support related to the logins that they have used at Startup India. So no refilling of duplication of information. It has been made extremely easy across 14, 15 states across the country, now growing every day. This is the portal that I was talking about. This is a repository of a lot of information. It has a lot of learning and development programs. It has showcase of good startups. It has a lot of state startup schemes, a summary of the same, what kind of eligibility they hold. So a common problem across the ecosystem is that there are so many schemes that it becomes very hard for an entrepreneur to know where I am eligible, which would be relevant for me. So we've tried to collate all of these by making it very simple for you to access, at least understand which ones are relevant for you so that you can start processing the same. It has a huge network of incubators, accelerators, mentors, etc. This will go on to have a mentorship platform also in the coming few months. So would definitely urge all of you to make use of this platform as much as possible. Another common requirement of ecosystem is funds. So I will cover these two specific things that are extremely useful for any of you. So if you come across any VC that is looking for funds to increase their pool, or if you're a DPIIT recognized startup, you actually have the opportunity to apply to these AIFs, which are VC funds. These are some 60 VC funds across the country that have been supported by DPIIT, and as a result have the mandate to invest in DPIIT recognized startups. SIDBI is the fund manager, so you can find information related to the same with them. And of course, this year, last year actually now, we have also launched the Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. We aim to support 3,600 early stage startups, and by early stage I mean even if you just have a business plan in hand and nothing else, you are more than welcome to apply for the scheme with a good business plan, and you could be given an investment in the form of either a 20 lakhs grant depending on what your stage is, or a 50 lakh debt or convertible debenture. This is the first time that the department is directly investing in startups with the help of incubators. And if you're an early stage startup looking for funding, this could be extremely helpful for you. And we are also working on a credit guarantee scheme in the coming few months of maybe opening up many more credit and debt-based instruments for the ecosystem. As I mentioned, market access. So one of the things that we have enabled is at least at the central government level, if you are a startup and you want to apply to a tender, your prior experience, prior turnover, and EMD requirements have been relaxed. So as a new company, you do not need to comply to the same. Another good initiative is the GEM Startup Runway. So if you are a startup working in a innovative sector, it often becomes very hard to get onboarded on the government e-marketplace for all of your benefits. GEM is actually the marketplace of all government buying. So if the government has to buy even a laptop or any kind of innovative product, they would typically go to this platform. So if you're a startup that has any kind of offering for government, definitely would urge you to get onboarded on GEM, which would allow you to get a myriad of opportunities to work with the government. We have enabled easier onboarding of startups on GEM by creating new sectors and categories so that it becomes easier for any startup to get onboarded. So these are some of the things we are trying to do in the public procurement sector, at least at the central level. Apart from that, another focus area has been to open up more corporate opportunities. So we work and encourage a lot of corporates to open up programs, call for applications that allow them to work with startups across India. These challenges are always hosted on the Startup India platform that I showed to you earlier. So any of you that are looking to work with a specific corporate, do be on a lookout for any programs that Startup India has opened up. You are more than welcome to apply for the same. They have a lot of benefits such as pilot orders, such as co-creation opportunities, incubation, etc. International engagements is another something that we are focusing on to allow startups to have a more global impact, to be able to have a soft landing pad when they are trying to expand to new geographies. We have a lot many bridges now to look out on the Startup India platform to avail of some of these opportunities. Another initiative is the state startup ranking. So Punjab has been dedicatedly participating in this exercise every year. How this works is that we have given a couple of action points to every state across the country to develop their local ecosystems. And we have seen that this has created a wonderful sense of friendly competitiveness. This has led to a lot many new policies across the country. And if you're a startup, you should definitely look at your dedicated state policy, because they have a lot of incentives to offer to you, to your sector. If you're a woman entrepreneur, these policies are extremely beneficial in terms of incubation opportunities, in terms of funding opportunities, and do look out for the same. Another opportunity that I would like to highlight is that DPIIT has a annual National Startup Awards edition now. We have just concluded and announced the winners of the last edition. We will be opening up the new National Startup Awards in the coming month. This has become a very lucrative initiative by the department, in which there are 36 to 40 categories where startups can apply for awards. It has a not just a cash prize kind of incentive, but it also has a 9-track kind of hand-holding support offered to every winner and finalist, in which you get access to investor connects, mentorship, corporate connects, regulatory support, showcase, and even a Startup India Doordarshan show where these startups have been able to get an opportunity to showcase their work in front of a very large audience. Some of these other initiatives also include us trying to improve language access across the country through startups. How can we promote Indic languages as well as mapping and whatnot? I'll maybe take a step back now. These are some of the marquee events. We, for example, closed the Innovation Week yesterday. We had a 7-day wonderful innovation week that had been organized by the department. Yesterday, the Prime Minister also, day before yesterday, the Prime Minister also spoke to a set of startups, took their recommendations for a lot of sectors. He also spoke, as I mentioned, of a National Startup Day being declared as yesterday. And these are some of the efforts that Startup India has made for the betterment of startups and ecosystem. Do avail of any of these pieces of information and resources if they are relevant to you. I'll take a pause now.
Thank you, Ms. Bhatia, for elaborating on procedures and benefits of registration on the startup portal. This info is a ready reckoner for all the aspiring startups that have joined us today on this platform. And I'm sure that with all the information that you shared with us, it will surely, witness, make more and more startups participate in the startup awards next year. And with that, the program and have Dr. Jitendra Kumar, who's Managing Director of Bangalore Bio Innovation Center, to discuss with us the innovative bio entrepreneurship strategies. Dr. Kumar is doctorate in biotechnology from IMTech Chandigarh. He has a postdoc degree from Ohio State University, Ohio, and MBA degree from the prestigious Fisher College of Business at Ohio State University. He is also the author of several internationally acclaimed peer-reviewed journals. And after returning from US, he has joined as the Vice President of Life Science Incubator at IKP Knowledge Park, Hyderabad, where he has immensely contributed to create a world-class center for translational research in life sciences. As the director and head of Bangalore Bioinnovation Center, his current focus is on incubating innovations in healthcare, agriculture, food and nutrition, and biofuel energy. He is working closely with the Karnataka Innovation Technology Society, Department of Electronics, Science and Technology, Government of Karnataka, to create a vibrant life science innovation cluster in Bangalore. He is also an adjunct faculty at the University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore, and Manipal Institute of Regenerative Medicine. With that with that broad knowledge base, I invite you, sir, to share your key learnings and the strategies for us to implement in Punjab.
Thanks for the kind introduction. First of all, I must extend my heartiest thanks to Punjab State Council for Science and Technology and Department of Science and Technology for giving me an opportunity to share my experience with you on innovative bioentrepreneurship strategies, the key learnings. Of course, I would like to give the key learnings from my experience at IKP Knowledge Park and now currently at Bangalore Bioinnovation Center. I'm also very glad to see Dr. Devapriya Datta, Dr. Jatinder Kaur Arora, Dr. Manish Devan, Shri Shivin C, Ms. Palak Kaur, and many other dignitaries who have spoken today and have enlightened us. I also thank all the startups here. I invite them to my talk, which I'm going to just give you some brief understanding of what we have been doing. Now, let us talk about Bangalore ecosystem and Karnataka ecosystem. What has been the key learnings and what can be applicable to other states like Punjab, progressive states like Punjab, especially in area of innovation and startups. The Karnataka ecosystem in terms of science and technology and innovation, is handled by Department of Electronics, IT, BT, and SMT, Government of Karnataka. Under the aegis of the department, there is a Directorate of ITBT, and implementation agency called Karnataka Innovation and Technology Society, headed by an IAS officer. The KITS is the implementation agency for many programs of the state through the department. Now, there are various field agencies which has been set up by the department and KITS together, along with the other institutions and academic institutions and agencies that are already existing. They have also partnered with many. So basically, Bangalore Bioinnovation Center is one such field agency, a nodal agency for incubation startups like in the area of life sciences. Bangalore Bioinnovation Center is set up as a Section 8 company, runs on a corporate model, and it is a stand-alone incubation center in the entire country. When I say stand-alone, it means that it is not under the shadow of any academic institution, or it is does not come under it, or it does not also it does not come under any research institution as such. Like say, for example, many of the incubation center, most of the incubation centers in the country right now, they are under the academic institutions currently existing, or the scientific institutions like CSIR, DBT, universities, etc. So the uniqueness of bioincubation center set up by the state government is a vision in itself. There may be many advantages of setting up a standalone incubation center as an autonomous body directly under the state government, and of course this was under the partnership of central government through Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, under Biotech Park scheme. So basically what we are trying to say is that there could be a model where the central government and the state government comes together and creates a flagship startup hub in the state. I would give a microcosmic study of Bangalore Bioinnovation Center, which can be adoptive in nature to many other states. I would also recommend that all these states where biotechnology is a priority would set up such model incubation centers. Now, Bangalore Bioinnovation Center is a part of Greater Biotech Park, which is called Life Sciences Park, which is around 100 acres of land located, coming with many institutions located in the southern part of Bangalore. It has three different zones. One is the academic area, and the academic area has institutions like IBAB, Institute of Bioinformatics and Applied Biotechnology, Center for Human Genetics. And then, of course, the translational research innovation area is Bangalore Bioinnovation Center. And then the huge area comes under the Biotech Park, where many big companies are about to come. The work, the infrastructure has already started to build. Coming to the Bangalore Bioinnovation Center, it acts as a crucial link between the academic institutions currently here and the upcoming biotech park for the multinational companies. How it becomes a crucial link? Because there is a huge synergy between the academic institutions and the innovation area and biotech park in the bigger companies. Because the students who are trained in the academic institutions can form the manpower, which can provide a fully trained manpower support to the not only incubation centers such as Bangalore Bioinnovation Center, but also bigger companies who are coming to the biotech park. Second is the IPs that are generated in academic institutions can be commercialized through entrepreneurial means, through incubation centers. And third, the startup companies who are located in Bangalore Bioinnovation Center could get a very good technical support from the academic institutions within the park. Now, Bangalore Bioinnovation Center is not only associated with these academic institutions, but also with University of Agriculture Sciences, Indian Institute of Horticulture Research, and many of JNCSR, for example, many other institutions that are within Bangalore and within Karnataka. And even we have gone ahead and signed MOUs with IIT Mumbai Venture Center and many more. So Bangalore Bioinnovation Center has recently become the largest startup hub in the country. All I'm trying to say is the key learnings that we had in this journey of entrepreneurship is channeled through a startup policy that we formulated in the state in the year 2016. And I think it is one of the first states to set up the startup policy. I was part of the startup policy formulation when I joined government of Karnataka, and I'm very glad to say that it is some of the most progressive startup policies in the country. The innovative strategies for innovative entrepreneurship in the state has been reflected in such startup policy that we had drafted. For example, I would name few programs that have transformed the state. One is the New Age Incubation Networks that has been formulated in the startup policy of the state. And they have, it enunciates the formation of incubation centers, but not full-fledged. It is part of a CIPI incubation centers within the academic institutions. And we give fundings to these academic institutions. Many such centers are operating in the state, and they churn out many entrepreneurs. Then we have incubation center program, where many academic institutions and universities already operating are given support to set up the incubation centers. Then we have the challenges, grand challenges. We float some challenges that, okay, this is a problem, and many startups are invited to give a proposal to solve that problem, and we provide funding. Then we also have programs such as a global recognition, global programs such as Boston Bangalore Corridor, where we not only have collaborations in terms of students exchange, but also startups exchange, a soft lending option for startups and all. So the policies that are formulated also has got a lot of repercussions on the standing of the Bangalore Karnataka as a hub for innovation. As you know, it is one of the forerunner states as far as innovation is concerned. We have recently won yesterday, 14 startups got national awards in the startup awards under DPIIT Startup India. The most important thing that we have done to transform the innovation landscape in Karnataka is we have set up a very formal structure, a very structured way of providing infrastructure, high-end equipment, mentorship, funding, networking, branding, and all that is required for any startup to take the technology readiness level at which it is to the level at which it wants to exit. So the whole business plan that they have would be actually supported through our initiatives. As when we talk about infrastructure, as you know, if you want to go deep into biotech, deep science biotech, where we are talking about new molecules, we are talking about very innovative diagnostic devices, we are talking about vaccines and all, you know that we will need a very good plug and play infrastructure for supporting the startups. That we have we have, I'm very proud to say that Bangalore Bioinnovation Center is one of the uh, flagship programs of the state, and it has created such facilities. The other key learnings that we have from the startup is that they want to start scale up after they have done a startup. So scaling up has various dimensions. One is the infrastructure that is suppose, for example, they need fermentation, they need a GMP facility, they need BSL-2 facility, BSL-3 that we have provided in Bangalore Bioinnovation Center as a part of state initiative, as also the central initiative, because BIREC is also our partner in creating many infrastructure that we have here at Bangalore Bioinnovation Center. The scale up has one more dimension, which is very relevant and which I'll share with you. I think Jatinder Arora madam had told about two startups, Janitri and Aindra, who are doing field testing trials at Bhatinda, Ames, and other part of the states. I'm very honored to say that both of these startups are from Bangalore, and they were incubated at Bangalore Bioinnovation Center, funded through Elevate 100 program. But what I'm trying to emphasize is that the true reflection of Startup India is that the startups can be incubated at any state, but their field testing or their applications can go to any other state and across India. And that is how our whole country is going to benefit from such applications. The other challenges that we have seen throughout learnings is that to run an incubation center, a standalone incubation center, as I recommended that every state should have, there is a huge funding requirement, and that is capital is one, capital funding, but then to run the center, we need some good annual recurring cost, and the state government should be supportive enough. I am very proud to say that Karnataka government has been very supportive to give this funding support to the Bangalore Bioinnovation Center as a nodal agency to support the startups and entrepreneurship in the state of Karnataka. And now we have been associated with central government, not only through BIRAC, but also recently we have got seed fund support from the Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, DPIAT, and also we have implementation partner for the state Elevate 100 program, which is another ignition grant from the state government side, similar to central government biotech ignition grant. And I can assure that no startup can go empty-handed who has come to us with any reasonable proposal, which is a very strong support that any incubation center can provide to the startup community, because funding is a major problem, major challenge in the ecosystem, at least the initial funding, and then follow-up funding in terms of the venture funding, etc. Also, we have tried to fill that gap through our association with Kitven Funds and other venture funding, India Angel Network, etc. So these are the key learnings from what we have seen in establishing innovative bio-entrepreneurship strategies in the state. In terms of mentorship, it is very important to provide good mentorship to the startup companies, because these are deep science tech scientists who are who need a good business support, business plan support. So we have a very structured mentorship program in Bangalore Bioinnovation Center. Then branding and networking. A global network, the national network, and the regional networks are very essential for any startup to progress. And the branding. So we take these startups to many various, international events. So all this what has created is a very good ecosystem of startups in the state of Karnataka and Bangalore. And you know, these startups, if given an opportunity, I can say that they can solve any problem. I'll share one example. When the COVID struck, in year 2020, we actually were at loss how to tackle it. And of course, there are a lot of mobilization from the state and central government. But I'll just share the experience of Bangalore Bioinnovation Center. We just provided the infrastructure and support system to these startups who are coming to solve this challenge and without any rentals. We just told that you do it, we'll share the revenues in case it succeeds. You'll be happy to know that we have launched some 30 products in times of COVID and some other non-COVID products also. So I can say that if you provide an enabling atmosphere support system, I think the startups can do a wonder. And no doubt, our Honorable Prime Minister has said that startups are the key pillar for the Indian economy in coming days. With this, I'd like to conclude my talk. I think I've already passed, the time allotted, but these are the key sharings I can do, key learnings I can share for innovative bioentrepreneurship strategies in state, and that can be adopted in many parts of country and many states. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jitendra ji. Thank you for your address. From experience and knowledge sharing from national frontrunners perspective, now we move ahead towards our own state's ecosystem and invite Mr. Somveer Anand, CEO and Mission Director, Innovation Mission Punjab, to enlighten our participants on his institution's initiative for stimulating entrepreneurship culture in Punjab. Mr. Somveer is an ISB Mohali alumni and has been a successful co-founder of many startups himself. So with that national and international expertise, he has been, helping us support our innovation ecosystem in the state. And I invite you, sir, for your address and, enlightening us on how we can take our startup ecosystem further with your support.
Thank you for having me. Quick change. I am from actually ISB Hyderabad. ISB Mohali is a very new thing. I am a very, very old kind of dinosaur in this startup world today, which is kind of seeing, every kid under the age of 30 wants to become a billionaire. वो millionaire तो सोचते ही नहीं है, कहते हैं millionaire तो पता नहीं कब तक खत्म करेंगे, सीधा unicorn status. So quickly, guys, let me tell you what I do, what we do, and what this, I have a very small kind of talk and what this is about. So the idea is to kind of put together or kind of make you understand what public-private partnership means and what it can do in this situation. So let me start up with saying a very, very, very good afternoon. For those of you in Chandigarh, it is a blisteringly cold afternoon. Feels like the entire city has left their deep freezers ke darwaje open because the entire city is frozen at the moment. And I'm going to use this cold as a metaphor and going to explain to you what we do. So public-private partnership is extremely important when you're dealing with things like entrepreneurship. The reason is an entrepreneur, how do I say this? 98% of all entrepreneurs fail. I've done 3 ventures and I don't have a Porsche yet. Matlab ki it didn't really, all 3 of them went okay. So 98% of us will fail. And if so many of us are going to continuously fail, it makes sense for the government, which basically has a lot of the resources, to kind of bring in someone who understands the ecosystem and tries to grow it. So in this cold, if I were to kind of explain to you how this works, the government is the house, right? And the private partnership is the heater inside the house. So the houses are massive. They are built to kind of take in 80% of the cold out, but you will still freeze until you get that little heater inside. So it is very, very important for the public and private partners to kind of work together. The Innovation Mission Punjab, which I am a part of, I will use that example to exemplify my kind of talk over here. This Innovation Mission Punjab is a public-private partnership in the truest sense. I don't know, can I speak in partly in Punjabi? I'll stick to English, it's fine. The public-private partnership, the real...
Ji, feel free.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So, the government, thanks, Palak. Thank you, guys. By the way, I loved all your talks. Huh? I've kind of made notes on everything, and I'm going to kind of get to each one of you guys and figure out how we can make Punjab great again. So a public-private partnership basically means that the government does what it can and the private sector does what it can. Innovation Mission Punjab, my board, so I'll just talk about my board for a second, consists of the who's who of the startup world. So we have SoftBank, Manoj Kohli. We have Pramod Bhasin, who's my direct boss, who built Genpact. We've got Sairaj Singh. We've got Kunal Bahl. We've got Naina Lal Kidwai. Apart from that, we've got Anirudh sir, we've got Tejveer sir. People who don't know them, these guys are the, people, one is a Chief Secretary Punjab, one is Secretary Industries Punjab. So the idea is we've got names of people who've done it. We've got names of people who can help the rest do it. And we've got them together and we've said, this is our board. That is the true public-private partnership. It says that now the organization is made. This is half public, half private. And that's the easy part. The part which is really tough is making it work. And I want to talk a little bit about that, right? The two things that have to be aligned in public-private partnerships are vision and capability. जे विजन नहीं होएगी साडी मतलब जे सानू लगे कि यार पंजाब दा मतलब जेड़ा स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम है वो एग्रीटेक बेस्ड होएगा then that is not correct. Because we've got data which says Punjab is way better at medical devices. We are way better at sports. We are way better at entertainment. We are way better at today we are seeing very, very deep tech startups forming over here. So whereas the government would go and say that everything is agri-based in Punjab, it is the private sector which goes and says that let us do some research. Let's go on the ground. Let's figure some things out. So, we've got fantastic partners in the sense of, I can see Sitinder right in front of me right now, right? So we went to these guys and we said that, listen, we need to understand the ecosystem slightly better. Their answer was, why don't you do a competition like a ROAR, where you go and get ideas from the state to understand how the state thinks. And then we devise strategies to go in there and intervene where we think is the best. So we did ROAR. Now, this is what I want to talk to you about. If it was a public-led event, I'm not sure how it would have went, but because it was a private public-led event, we were able to get the best incubators. Every incubator in this state has sent a representative to ROAR, who's judged the competition, who's been able to understand how the startups are, how an idea stage in Mohali, in Patiala, in Nawashahar, in Amritsar, how they think. We've been able to tell the government that we need these 4 or 5 things, and they've been able to. So if we ask them for 5, they give us 10, by the way. That's how proactive our government is. And I know everybody might have a different take on this. But guys, this is my 3rd startup. I have absolutely not seen policies. I've not seen things like this. I've not seen, meetings like this happen before. Things are happening at an extremely fast pace. And I think the reason is because of the private guys coming in. When we talk about vision, there are 2 types of visions, and I want this to be clear. 98% of startups are going to fail, correct? So not everybody, a startup is not for everybody. The government has its ears on the ground. The government tells us what is important. The government tells us where the problems are. The government tells us that we have a problem with water management, for example. We have a problem with very high antibiotics in cattle. We have a problem with pesticide. I don't want to go there. Everyone knows that. We have a problem with parali burning. We have a problem with turi burning. So the government tells us all these things. Then we go in and we get our. I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit, so please don't think that we are very pompous. But but we go and get a world vision to see what is happening in the rest of the world. What are our entrepreneurs good at, and how do we get them? Addressing these issues? So this is the vision part. The second part is the capability. We bring in the soft capability. So we bring in years and years and years of private sector, profit-led, result-led, bottom-line-led culture. And what the government gives us is world-class infrastructure. I mean, I don't know how. So a lot of people think that in our Indian infrastructure is okay. Guys, please go to an STPI, go to IIT Ropar, go to NICER, go to these places, check them out. They are world-class. If we cannot build world-class companies here, I don't know why we can build them. But why am I doing this? Why are so many people in the private space trying to jump into this and trying to do this? So I'll leave you with one last thing before I go. There's something, and I say this on every conversation. Every time I meet people, I say this, and I'm going to say it again. The one common thing with a Grofers, a Flipkart, a Ola, a Oyo, Zomato. You know what's the one common thing between all these guys? They're all Punjabi startups from Mohali, from Ropar, from Ludhiana, from Bhatinda. They are all Punjabi startups. And they're not Punjabis who had left 20 years ago. They're Punjabis like you and me, who were born here, brought up here, studied at St. Anne's and studied at YPS and kind of put their effort into this. But they left the state to build the company somewhere. Now, with the public-private partnership in hand, I can promise you one thing. I will not let, and this might hurt a few people, so I apologize. I will not let a single startup leave this state. I will shut down every IELTS center that exists in the Dwaba region. I'll make sure our brains, I will make sure our blood and sweat remain in this state. And that is only possible with the support and the guidance of the government, and with a little bit bottom line led kind of culture and thinking that we guys bring in. I don't want to bore anyone. I wanted to kind of put across our point as succinctly as we could. I've been in this for 2 months now, 2.5 months. And I don't want to say it, but you will be amazed at the people in this state. Amazed. Their ideas are fantastic. They're kind of getting their ability to think is on another level. Their commitment, that ethic that you can't train anyone for, that ethic that you are born with, right? That ethic, you can see it. You can see it in these people. Thank you so much, guys. I won't take too much of your time. Thank you so much. It's always lovely being here. It's lovely seeing the ecosystem. And the more I see you, the more I kind of interact with people like you, the more I believe we made the right decision. So I moved back from the US 5 years ago to set up my company in India. And every time I see the ecosystem grow, I think I made the right decision. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Somveer for your energized talk and taking your brain drain to brain retain strategy forward. I invite our next speaker, Satyendra Singh ji, who is an IIM Lucknow graduate and is currently serving as CEO Technology Business Incubator, ISER Mohali. Satyendra ji himself has earlier, worked with corporates like Airtel, Tata Teleservices, Videocon Connect, Reliance, and many other corporates, and has a vast experience in, bringing his expertise to now the startup ecosystem in the state. Since last 5 years, he has been actively involved in the startup ecosystem around the country and has mentored 50 plus startups. He has provided advisory to agri incubators at PAU Ludhiana, IIM Kashipur, and other institutes incubators. With that background, I invite you, sir, for your address to energize our participants further.
Thank you, Divya. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir. The screen is visible too.
Okay, fine. You're sharing it from your end. That's great. That's great. So, good afternoon to all of you here. Dr. Jitendra Kaur, Palakji, Somvi, Jitendra Kumar from Bioinnovation, and all the dignitaries and all the audience, the innovators, the potential startup janta and the current startups. And after Somveer's inspiring session, I am sure all of us must be energized and must be looking forward to changing the scenario in Punjab, like the way Jitendra ji was saying what is happening in Bangalore. Sooner we will be competing with cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad in the startup ecosystem space. And by Punjab State Council across the state.
Satyendra ji, I'm sorry to interrupt. You are not audible.
Not at all. Abhi aa rahi hai awaaz?
Hanji, better, but still it's like very weak sound that we are getting.
Okay, fine. Just a second. Let me check. Now, am I audible now?
Hanji, far better, sir. Please continue.
Well, I'll keep the mic just close to my mouth so that I'm clear. Yeah. So I'm saying that yes, the Punjab startup ecosystem phase is changing thanks to Punjab State Council of Science and Technology and Innovation Mission Punjab, obviously backed up by the incubators, which are have actually reignited, and there are many more incubators which are coming up in the region, not just the Chandigarh Tri-City, but across Punjab. So coming to my particular topic, when we talk about the role of business incubators in the startup growth, we all understand that as a startup, as an innovator, they need a support system, right? That's what we have seen. That's what the Maji has talked about, what bioinnovation is providing. And similarly, as a technology business incubator at ISER Mohali, now called as iRise, ISER, Raising Innovative and Sustainable Enterprises, yeah, supporting the startups and the innovators with all kind of facilitation, whether it is the lab space, office space, mentoring, technical support, IP support, and networking, industry connect, and so on. That's what the job of an incubator is. But let us see few key things through this presentation. Well, I have kept this presentation very briefly, touching on the, or maybe points, which will highlight the importance of the incubator, because many times startups and the innovators don't choose the correct incubator, or they choose incubator just for the funds, or they do not understand the importance of the incubator at all. So I suppose this presentation should help the startups and the innovators think seriously about the incubation program and the incubator they want to incubate. Having said that, iRise at ISER Mohali is a sector agnostic, and we are not focusing any. Punjab has potential for multiple sector, not just agri-tech, as Somveer has mentioned. So we would have happy if anyone of you are interested, join us. So let's continue. Divya, will you scroll down the slides, or yeah, can you go to the next slide? So yeah, basically, what is an incubator? To understand what, obviously, yeah, support the startups and all that is here, but overall, what is the incubator? That's where it is enhancing those economic development activities within that region. So it is that the whole objective of the government to support, now even private sector with kind of objective, is to facilitate that economic development across the region by obviously reducing the unemployment and increasing the entrepreneurship. At the same time, second objective, which is where most of the incubators still are not doing enough in Punjab, is commercializing the emerging technologies from the research institute and the universities. I think there's a lot of things which we can do, whether it is ISER Mohali, IIT Ropar, Thapar, Chitkara, we have wonderful institutes in Punjab. We have state-of-the-art research institutes like IMTech, NABI, SIA, but most of the technologies and the research that is happening is not going back to our society. That is where we need effective incubation or the incubator to connect market with the institutes. Now, when we see the barriers of the entrepreneurship, because we need to understand why these students, or maybe why we are not coming up with so many bright people converting to be entrepreneurs. There are basically four key barriers. You can divide this by into four sections. One is the environmental, obviously, the material, the raw material, the inventory, manpower, the infra support, the basic infra support of lab and office. That is where incubator can play an important role. Second is the social, regulatory, legal, policy guidelines, societal norms are there, so that a student has to do a job or need to be financially independent. So that is where we need to do a lot of work as an incubator. We need to guide the parents. We need to have the workshops for the parents also, for the outgoing students' parents. Make them understand that it is not something that he's wasting a year or something, taking a drop to build his enterprise or startup, but it is an investment. Maybe it could work, maybe it may not work, but there will still be learning for the student. Third is the financial. There are problems of funds, obviously, for research, doing product research, developing a product prototype, to the manufacturing operations or the marketing things. We have this incubation, provide the seed money, and they can connect with them, the investors or the industry. And finally, the personal. There's a lot of personality development required for these young entrepreneurs build that kind of networking skills, to build that kind of communication skills. It's a consistent motivation. Apart from that, they have learning when they would see similar people working under the same roof. There would tend to be growth in their personality graph and the skill set which is required as an entrepreneur, right? So now, in a snapshot, that's the incubator's role. Like when a startup and innovator comes at a stage to join the incubator, he is having the technical knowledge of the product, and maybe to a certain extent, he is filed an IP or in the process of filing an IP. Or that's the innovation is right. But the other things, marketing, sales, distribution, financial, funds management to manufacturing, contacts, and so on, that is where he needs. And how these will be supported? By providing manpower support, community support. Community building is there for the entrepreneurs by the incubator. Technical, business expertise, networking support, and obviously local, regional professional service providers so that they need not to go out. Otherwise, if they have to go out to Mumbai, Bangalore, or certain other locations, there will be. But if they are getting the same kind of service at their home turf, then they would tend to perform better. That is what the SOMV's objective was also to set regional startups here in the state itself. We will obviously add these values, which I mentioned in the 4 points: focus, tactics, strategy, connectivity, and finally, all these points will be by the end graduated. So what about the host institute? Because we need to understand most of these incubators, there are very few which are independent incubators like BioInnovation. But most of these incubators are being located at the host institutes, such institutes or the academic institutes. Is there some problem with the presentation? The shade? Okay, fine. So divide the 3 categories in the host institute. There are innovators, there are researchers, there are students, and then there is faculty and the staff. Not be the who may not be in the entrepreneur mindset. They want to start their own startup, but still the incubator can benefit them. So I've listed down these few points wherein each stakeholder of an institute or of the university also get benefit from the incubator if the incubation or the incubator there is a success and is impactful. So I think we can all read these things. It includes like providing office infrastructure to industry connect, to technology commercialization, to IP support for the researchers, and the internship opportunity to life case study, even certificate employments for these students. Faculty, we can have a technology validation, study, and so on. So this is a very important thing where host institute, sometimes, most of the time, I mean, I've seen that is happening, that because host institute is not focusing on the incubator or the incubation facility development, we do not see much of the growth of the entrepreneurship in the ecosystem. Now, for the startups and the innovators, the very important thing is to select the incubator. I've seen many people who have joined multiple incubators, but they are not able to do justice the learning from each of the incubators. So one need to be very specific when he selects the incubator. Obviously, first and foremost thing he needs to the kind of research support, the office support space, or the IT support is there, what he is looking for, kind of equipments are there for his product development, for his research, if it is there. Secondly, the track record of the incubator, or if the incubator's track record is not there, if it's a new incubator, just check out the host or the core team, who are there in the team, who are leading those incubators, who are managing those incubators, what kind of expertise they have. And then one need to see the kind of curriculum, what's the program structure like. You can see their previous workshops, their seminars, and the mentors team they have. That is falling into a category for that. And finally, cost and location. So cost is normally it's nominal charges, but still if that could be a factor for an early stage startup. And the location for connectivity, how like if you're for a business, the location, how connect. if it is the host institute is important for you, what kind of facilities the host institute support or faculty expertise it is providing to the incubator. Considering these four key factors, one need to decide the incubator he need to apply. Next is like four R's, I would say, the checkpoints basically when to apply for the incubator. You need to know the right time when to apply for the incubation. It could be at the idea stage of the concept, or it could be at the prototype stage, at the early stage startup, it could be at the pilot testing. You just need to see what kind of program incubator is running, what kind of support they are able to provide, but you need to figure out right time accordingly. Not to be too early, and then finally, if you have already established a business, you need to entry as well as exit. Right product and concept. It is not something kind of which you have just thought of, or something which is like a me too kind of category. Everyone else is doing, so I'll get into this without having correct knowledge of that. So one need to see if he's technically perfect or skill set is interested to do that. And it's something innovative, something new which is coming out to be standing out, because startups need to have exponential growth. And that can only happen if one has a substantial or differential advantage against the other. Finally, you need to have a right expectation from the incubation program. Program is not an academic institute kind of thing. It will help you find out the correct network. It will help you to connect with the required stakeholders, but you need to work around. You need to do all the hard work that is required. Incubator guidance support you and provide you all the facilities and everything. But in the end, your passion and zeal, and find the right team. If you have the right team, you need to have the intent to hire the right team for it. Because once you enter the work accordingly as per the milestones of this they will then not having the correct team, it's very tough to achieve those. And trust me, when any incubator have those structures of having those milestones, this for your own, not see as just as like of pressure. That is what most of the time I have seen people leaving the and following up with not that for their own idea. Now these are few government initiatives. I'll skip those slides because we have already discussed those things. There are many initiatives that are being supported. BIRAC, Startup Punjab itself supports the incubator. So government is quite keen and specific in supporting, and that is why we are seeing as well as the startups within turnaround. So that's all from my side. The only thing is that there is a study says 87% of the incubated graduates are still in a, as 98% startups fail, but they get the right direction, the right kind of support. I'm sure they would still strike. Thanks for always pleasure to.
Thank you, Satyendra ji, for sharing the world-class infrastructure, facilities, and services being provided by your incubator, and the way you handhold the startups in their journey towards success. With all the ingredients in place, I think Punjab is sure to become the startup hub of the country in near future. And with that, I think we can move ahead towards listening to our very own successful startup for his startup story. We have with us Mr. Taranjeet Singh Bhamra. He is the CEO and founder of Agnes Technologies. Mr. Bhamra is the globally, the Agnes Technologies is a globally award-winning venture capital-backed company that is solving for trust and transparency in global value chains using the AI-based solutions for enabling quality-based assessments. I invite you, sir, for sharing with us your inspiring story so that all of us on this platform can learn from your journey and become a successful startup in the future.
Thank you so much for inviting into this very, very prestigious conclave. It's a pleasure to, uh, sit in front of, various leading organization heads today and talk to them about, how AgNext, which started its journey from Punjab, has been able to, build something larger for not only Punjab but for India as a whole in the global domain. My name is Taranjeet. I am a graduate from IIT Kharagpur, and I did my MBA from IIM Calcutta before leaving externally and uh, coming back to India to start my own company. Now, in this whole venture, what we wanted to do was how can we solve agriculture? I mean, after being abroad for around 10 years, the whole idea was how can we build something larger for in agriculture. When I came back in 2016, what we had seen was, there was not many, data sciences based solutions in agriculture. And this is where I believe that India had to develop something which can solve for trade, and just 1 second. Sorry. Yeah. So the whole idea of AgNext was to build something which can, enable better pricing for farmers, because what we believe that farmers were not able to get the better pricing, and hence they were not able to, do better transactions in the whole value chain. For this, we thought Mohali would be the ideal location because one, there was a lot of talent from all across the 4 states that we are envisaged with. Second, there are a lot of research and incubation centers that are there around the city. So we thought that we will base our technology development cell from Mohali, and we had incubated at IIT Kharagpur, from where we actually took up a lot of PhDs and MTechs and placed them in Mohali and started working on computer vision and spectral sciences, which are very, very scientific technologies that needs to be applied into agriculture. Over the next 4 years, we developed more than I would say 13 patents, and now looking to do more than 70 patents, and also build technology that can analyze food on the spot. Now, we started with this presumption that we will analyze food on the spot, but we moved to larger things of how we can build better food traceability, which after the COVID incidents has become one of the most, I would say, most important technology that is needed to ensure better food safety and food guarantee in this world. From there, we moved on to building technologies that can better procurement, and today we are working with top companies not just in India but internationally as well, from Indonesia, Vietnam, and now Abu Dhabi. We are just opening our offices in Abu Dhabi and Vietnam to expand into South Asia and Middle East. And what we had seen is irrespective of, which geography we are in, the same technology can be scaled all over the world. And that's why we believe that, technology has a much, much larger game to play in agriculture, not just in India, but globally. And that's why we are very proud to, associate and build technologies that were started from Punjab, but now can be taken globally. And that's why my request to all the startups who are, thinking of building from this region is that this is a great region to be. I mean, we might also be feeling that, there are not enough venture capital here. There are not enough, government support here, but actually it is not so. If you are doing great work and if you are building the right technology, venture capital will come to you. And that is what I had seen. We didn't have to go to, Bangalore or Bombay or Gurgaon to, have a discussion with any VC. All the VCs found us and they came over here. So my request to all the startups is that, have some good mentors and talk as much as you can, even without making anything. Just for the first 2 or 3 months, when you have decided to start something, just take a pen and paper and keep writing every discussion, every meeting that you are having. Because you never know what kind of advice or what kind of idea or what kind of insight that you might get, which might, kind of build something larger for you. For example, when I came to India, we built a very, very unique technology and a very, very unique business model. In fact, we have very less competition of what AgNext is building. But I'll give you an example. Just I think just 2 weeks back, some boy in Haryana, made a very small app in 6 months, called it the Netflix of Haryana, and it has a crazy downloads all over India, by the Haryanvi people, and it has I mean surpassed all kinds of records that are there in order to build something. And within 2 weeks, you won't even imagine 2 weeks back he had posted, and in just 2 weeks he has already gotten invested by Bloom Ventures. So that's the kind of speed that venture capital love. That if you build something, build something for not only state or build for the nation, but something that is extremely exponential in growth. So my request is, spend your time with your mentors, with your various industry guys who have actually done something. Spend with them, understand what insights you can gain, and build a much larger game plan for yourself out of Mohali. And I'll tell you, like we are also incubated at ICER. There's absolutely so much of support that we get. There are STPI, which is an amazing place for startups to work out of Mohali. And then there are very good support from Invest Punjab, which I think should be is very much available for very, very eligible startups to showcase their talent to India and globe. So I believe that if you are doing a startup, and as you have seen, Prime Minister Modi has also declared January 16, the value of startups that is coming so much in India now, with India getting more funding than China. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We have not even seen what India will be in the next 2 years. In the next 2 years, we will far surpass China and US in terms of our entrepreneurship. And our entrepreneurship will not only reach India, but it will reach a lot of other nations. So I think if you have idea, and we are entrepreneurial in nature, so I think it is just about the right time for you to enter. Spend more time in building insights, and spend more time with your customer. And most important is, if you are building something technology, I think you have a much larger world to capture, to conquer. So that's where I believe AgNext is working towards. We started with for first 4 years we just built technology, quality assessment using computer vision and spectral. But in the next 2 years, we are going to become, one of the very prominent agriculture value chain startup with technology that goes from Rwanda in coffee to tea in Assam to spices from Malaysia. There'll be lot of inventions that will be coming from our table, and also innovations in supply chain that we will build for the world agricultural body. So I think my best wishes to all the startups, and I'll be more than happy to talk to founders who need help, who want to have some basic direction. I think it is my prerogative as well as my responsibility to give back to the society of startups. So I'm more than happy. We are based out of Software Technology Park, so we are more than happy to have discussions or advising startups who want to scale. Any which ways we can do that. So my best wishes, and thank you very much for providing this opportunity. I feel extremely pleased to be part of this great institutional leaders, as well as organizations, as well as individuals who are thinking great about building startups in this state. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bhamra sir, for enlightening us with your journey and having us, go back with key learnings on how we can aim towards a successful startup manship. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
And now, as we approach the closing ceremony of VIGYAN UTSAV today, allow me to formally thank all the stakeholders who have helped us to put forward such a vibrant show today. My sincere thanks to Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, for supporting us in our 1 month, 1 theme VIGYAN UTSAV each month. My thanks are also due to Startup Cell, especially Siban sir, for sparing his time, and TBI ISER to collaborate for our today's event. Further, I would love to thank our partner institutions like BIRAC, NASCOM, AIMS Bathinda, NASCOM Foundation for launching the pilot test bed of startups and making this event successful, and other collaborating and participating startups who have joined us today. Next, I shall also fail in my responsibility without thanking all my colleagues from the State Council of Science and Technology Punjab, especially our system supervisor, the creative team, our supporting technical and non-technical staff in putting up their earnest efforts in making this event seamlessly successful in our current times of technical glitches in the virtual space. Last but not the least, I would also love to thank our participants and aspiring startups who had joined us today and has been patient listeners throughout the event. My thanks to one and all who have joined this event today, and I request the closing of today's event with this. Thank you all.